custom-made shoes, custom-made shirt, every hat, everything that Ben had anything to do with. His clubs were immaculate and extremely well designed, well thought out. The shafts, the equipment was important to him, and he would start that way.
And no one looked like Hogan. Let me tell you what, there's no one that had the person. There was no one who was more proud to walk on a golf course than Ben Hogan. His clothes were absolutely stunning.
Okay, one of the most beautiful swings ever, Ben Hogan. Look how he drags that right leg. Let's see his foot dragging there. So there is a lot of weight on that left leg. That's where we're going here. Looks like his ankle is out bent over there, and you can see the angle of his foot where the heel is always leading the toe. A lot of guys flip that heel up, but you can see that heel just stays at like a 45-degree angle to the target as he kind of gets that thigh over by the left leg. So I kind of find that interesting. Now, here's a beautiful move. A lot of hip turn. Now, what you're going to see is this little push of his pelvis here at the end range of this backswing right there. You can see just a little bit of an arching of his torso, whereas his rib cage almost expands out in front of him this way, just really creating some stretch in that kind of coiled up abdomen, kind of the center of the body. You know, the belly button is closest to the center of gravity, and so he's really, we're going to say the guy just maxes out everything you could possibly do. You know, his wrist hinge and lag on the way down. You can't see it here because it's so blurry, but I've never seen this rear video before telling the tale of how his leg here, it goes to meet the left leg. It's not like the left leg is spinning way out and the right hip's chasing the spin. It's more that Hogan is getting that right hip and right quad to come up and slam into the left leg. And, of course, the beautiful arch of Mr. Hogan here, unparalleled with anybody I've ever seen. And we'll never see that again unless someone tries to master the moves like this man did. But there's some unique things here. That kind of last coil, you can see a big hip turn, the left knee's cranking, then the left knee doesn't really go anywhere for a second there. That's that little move with the pelvis there, squeeze. Left knee doesn't go anywhere, which means it's in dual IR there, internal rotation of those both hips, squeezing the pelvis, and now the knee starts to swivel out, and the ankle on the left leg, the shin is pointing out way over here to the kneecap, and he is on the side of that foot. You can't really see it, but he is on the side of that foot coming down because both legs are pushing so hard to the target. Unbelievable.
They were ultra conservative, but they absolutely looked, he was as neat as a pin. No one dressed that way. No one went to the golf course with as much pride and conviction and he was absolutely enthralled. And what he said, my gosh, he said, when I started to play and when I got on the tour, it was an absolute pleasure to have my life's work out on the golf course.
Whether it involved his shots or his equipment, precision was always one of his standards. Prior to the 1955 U.S. Open, Hogan received a new shipment of golf balls. One by one, he removed each ball from its carton and peered at it through a magnifying glass. Every so often, he threw one of the new balls into his shag bag. At a nearby locker, Harvey Ward shook his head. "Excuse me, Ben," he said, "but why are you throwing those new balls away?" "Some of them," Hogan replied, "have a little too much paint in the dimples." Hogan approached the golf club business in the same way. He would settle for nothing less than perfection. "I don't think Mr. Hogan got into this business thinking about making money," a longtime Hogan employee once said. "I think he got into it because he wanted to make a perfect set of golf clubs." The first batch of clubs produced by the Hogan Company did not meet Ben's standards, and he ordered the entire batch, with an estimated $100,000 in certain scrap.
Well, I think a lot of players search perfection, and maybe the same way Ben did, and that was by hard work and trying to improve their game, never be satisfied with what you're doing. Ben was such a perfectionist that even when he played a fine round of golf, he'd come in and people would talk to him about the various shots. He said, I want to hit 5 good shots today. Well, in other words, the shot that he might have put 20 feet to the hole, he might consider it a good shot because it was a difficult shot, and he put the ball exactly where he wanted to.
Practice was where Hogan started his search for perfection. And practice was not something he took lightly.
I had 2 things that kept in my wallet that Ben Hogan said. I don't have many more, but it's been that many years, but it's etched in stone. He had one thought where I cut it out. There isn't enough daylight in any one day to practice all the shots you need to. The other one was, every day you miss practicing will take you 1 day longer to be good.
Dave Marr, he said that the man was a sphinx, and he had an aura about him that was totally different. I mean, he commanded so much respect. Wherever he was, wherever he walked in a locker room or wherever he was, I mean, people just, they kind of, this man was a feared competitor and just piercing countenance. I mean, this man was business. When he got on that course, it was a battle. He and the golf course, and nothing else.
Now we're going to take a detailed look at Ben ball kind of in a step-by-step manner.
He did it in 3 steps. He would go in and he would step in. He'd put his left foot there, then put his right foot back, and he was ready to go. He would set himself even though he got sometimes slow with some shots, and they played other shots fast. But he always maintained the same setup.
First of all, Hogan's arms are never straight at the address position, and his hand is hanging almost like you'd shoot a pistol in the ground. A lot of people start their swings out. If the pistol would shoot the instructor, you have to drop your hand down at an angle to shoot a pistol in the ground. His hands are arched, what you call arched, and he arched them he'd arch his right hand first, and then he'd put his left hand on.
Very clearly right here, still very open to his target line, just coming in to aim the club, and that's the first thing Hogan does. Aims the club up off the ground. He's got his feet close together there, and he'll step into his setup. There's the left foot and the right foot. See that very clearly. Notice all the time that Hogan has that club in motion as he's getting himself set. He is not freezing over the golf ball. There's that famous Hogan waggle. Now he's just getting himself prepared to hit the golf shot. Okay, at address, what are the things we see? One, let's look at the shaft plane line, which goes underneath his belt line. Now Hogan did